Good morning, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Tuesday, July 16th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. Shane Mataman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tom Eagle off your morning mayor in the house, and this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with who else? Tom and Shane. How you doing?
Overwhelmed. Just overwhelmed.
You're overwhelmed? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed.
Okay. Well.
Yep. Crazy politics, buddy. You go from crazy gate to these crazy congresswomen. Like, it's just crazy.
Well, we're going to be talking about that as the morning goes on, I'm sure. So first, let's take a look at our Gallatin Valley weather. We got a slight chance of rain before 10 o'clock. It was raining when I came in this morning, lightly, and rained overnight. But there's a chance of showers and thunderstorms between 10 and 3, then showers likely and possible a thunderstorm after 3. Increasing clouds, be a high of 75 today. And rainfall chance of precip is about 60%. New rainfall amounts between a tenth and a quarter of an inch. Expect higher amounts possible in thunderstorms. And tonight, showers likely and possibly a thunderstorm before 1 a.m., then a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 1 a.m. Cloudy during the early evening and then gradually clearing with a low around 51. West-southwest winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. And chance of precip, again, 60%. New rainfall amounts are the same, a tenth to a quarter of an inch. So looks good for today, but after today, oh man, we're going to have a week of no rain. Believe it or not, no rain.
Wow.
No snow, no hail, no thunderstorms, no nothing.
Well,
other than sunny weather.
The 90-day growing season hath begun.
Has begun. That's right. Yep. Yeah, our summer will be Wednesday this year.
That's right.
All right, Wednesday, high of 77, low of 52, partly cloudy, no chance of any precip at all. Thursday, same story, 79 and 48, mostly sunny all day, no chance of rain there. Friday, 75, mostly sunny, no chance of rain there. Saturday, 72 and 46, and sunny all day, very little chance of any rain there. And Sunday, 78 and 51, the low. It is sunny and no chance of a rain. And Monday, it is 85, 55 be the low, mostly sunny, and just a slight chance of rain, maybe a 20 or 30% chance in the late afternoon, early evening. And 88 on Tuesday, and a little rain in the evening there maybe, but boy, that's a pretty nice looking week for us, I think. If we're done with the rain.
Yeah, that's right. It's the glory week of the year, right? I mean, it really same with us. The last 2 weeks of July and the first 2 weeks of August here in Vancouver, guaranteed sunshine and summer. It's just guaranteed.
All right, temperatures around the area right now. Livingston checks in at 56 degrees. Manhattan is 56. Three Forks 57. Let's see. Gallatin Gateway's 54. Ennis is 53. Big Sky 48. And at the airport in Belgrade, they got a light rain over there, 55. And we're right at 54 degrees here in our lavishly appointed downtown studios in Bozeman, Montana, where we're making radio great again.
Yes, from a small blue box.
Amen. That would be it. Let's see. We've got to go over to this day in history. 1790 on this day, the District of Columbia was established as the seat of the U.S. government. That moved from, I believe, New York City.
Correct. The Resident Act of July 16th, 1790, approved the creation of a capital district to be located on the Potomac River. And the U.S. Constitution provided for a federal district. It's an exclusive jurisdiction. It doesn't have the recognition as a state, but they do have a congressional representation, but with no vote. And the states of Maryland, Virginia, each donated the land. It was named after Washington, the founding father, obviously. And it was finally founded in 1791 to serve as the new capital. And great thing is that 1846 Congress, almost like 60 years, Congress returned the land originally ceded by Virginia, and in 1871 it created a single municipal government. And fascinating thing, the population is over 700,000. The estimated surrounding area is 6.2 million. 702,000 makes it the 20th most populous city in the country. And all three branches are represented there. It has a locally elected mayor and a 13-member council. But you're going to love this. The House of Representatives is the final authority on all matters Washington, D.C. They control the city and city budget, and they can override any decisions made under the 23rd Amendment of the United States, ratified in 1961.
Wow, I wonder why when the Republicans controlled it, they didn't rescind that gun ban.
Yeah, exactly. You mean the Democrats? You mean the Democrats? Yeah.
Well, the Republicans controlled it when Trump was elected.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
so.
right. Yeah.
1951, what a great book. The Rite of Passage. J.D. Salinger's novel, A Catcher in the Rye, was published. Required reading for probably anyone over 15 years old, I would say.
Well, yeah.
Trials and Tribulations of Holden Caldwell.
That's right. And the fascinating thing is that I don't even think they have book lists anymore in grade school or junior high school.
Yeah.
Anyway, Salinger was born in 1919, January 1st. Yay.
All right.
A Capricorn. January 27th, 2010. So over the years, this is the first person that I can recall us talking about who was born on January 1st, a New Year's baby.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was Jewish and got out of Austria a month before it was annexed by the Germans on March 12th, 1938. And just one of those people that happened to get lucky and wasn't on a ship turned around by the President of the United States.
Well, he was a recluse too. Boy,
big time,
no interviews, no nothing. Boy, he was Unabomber.
Yeah, that's right.
Recluse, I guess, huh?
Yeah, 3 different wives.
Yeah,
and only one child.
Must have got out once in a while, huh?
Yeah. Well, he died of natural causes January 27th, which is pretty amazing. 2010 in Cornish, New Hampshire, at 91 years of age. So,
wow. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, in 1957, Marine Major John Glenn set a transcontinental speed record when he flew a jet from California to New York in 3 hours, 23 minutes, 8 seconds.
That's right. And he served, following his retirement from NASA from 74 to 99 as a Democratic U.S. Senator from Ohio. He was the first American to orbit the Earth.
Yep.
Circling it 3 times. And then he would return to Earth. He returned to space in his 70s. Anyway, on a space shuttle. He wanted to go back up, and NASA got all upset about the idea of him going up. And anyway, he ended up doing it. He got the first Congressional Space Medal of Honor. Remember, we were talking about the medals around before. He was in the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame in 1990 and received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. NASA and the Navy gave him the Distinguished Service Medal, which is that's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
So he flew on Discovery STS-95 mission in 1998. Wow, how incredible is that?
Yeah.
And lived to the ripe age of 95. I mean, all of a sudden, people are starting to live a very long time, Tom.
Well, some are, that's for sure. I hope you and I do.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you know what? I've had such a great life. I have no complaints.
Well, I would have to say the same. So if I got to go, it'd be okay.
Yeah, when I'm called home,
Yeah.
he can have me. I'm welcoming.
Okay. Well, on
All
that
right.
happy note of us both dying, let's go to
Yes.
let's go to Montana News and Agriculture and the Headwater Livestock Report and the Gallatin County 4-H. We'll be right back. 21 minutes after the hour of 6 a.m. It's Tuesday, July 16th, 2019, 54 degrees outside. Looking for a high in the mid-70s today. So, the rain should move out of here, and we should have a whole week of, even the weekend will be nice next week. So stay tuned for that. Well, in this day in history, 1964, in accepting the Republican presidential nomination in San Francisco, Barry M. Goldwater said, "Extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice, and moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue." And no one on the planet understood what the hell that meant.
Until today.
Yeah, right. Well,
yeah,
anyway.
another Episcopalian and very Christian-oriented gentleman sat in the Senate from Arizona until 1987, and 1987. Amazing man, had a great life, and enjoyed being a successful photographer of Arizona. That was his chosen love of life, really. He said, but he was basically felt responsible for the resurgence of the American Conservative Party. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, there was also some dispute about him being eligible for the presidency because Arizona was not a state when he was born.
That's correct. Yeah, and it was one of those, because this was like, it was one of those things that occurred after the 1960 election and television, and made that, we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
But I didn't mention yesterday, so I will today. When I was, was 64, so I was 9 years old, I met him because he came to Montana. And he actually came to our house because my father was a big Republican backer back then.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
No wonder you've been in, that's how you've been indoctrinated, I see.
Oh, yeah, I remember, I watched the 1960 debates. Ever since 1960, I've seen every presidential debate.
All right, 1969, Apollo 11 blasted off from Cape Kennedy to the first manned mission to the moon.
An hour from now, we celebrate that liftoff, 50 years. Just a few things I want to say because I think everyone should be reminded of it. The commander was Neil Armstrong, and the lunar module pilot was Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins was the command module on Columbia.
Right.
And it was the fourth Apollo launch on the Saturn V, the most beautiful rocket ever created, and with the most power lifting off from the Kennedy Space Center. They landed on July 21st at 2:56 in the afternoon, and let's see, what was it? It was I was going to ask you, do you remember how many hours, or how after Armstrong landed on the moon at Tranquility Base, how long was it before he was joined by Buzz Aldrin? Do you remember? 19 minutes later. So
okay.
Neil Armstrong got to walk on the moon alone for 20 minutes.
Wow. There you go.
47 pounds of rocks they brought back, as you remember. It was put under quarantine for 6 months, and then divvied up to all the university labs in the U.S. to be studied. Wow, they learned a lot.
Yeah. And Richard Nixon had a contingency plan.
That's right.
That if they didn't come back, he had one of his speechwriters write the message that he was going to give to the 3 widowed wives.
That's right. And he also called them from the White House, which was the first time a president of the United States spoke to an astronaut on another planet, well, not planet, but on another spatial rock.
Yeah, okay. Spatial rock is what we always refer to it as.
And, they beat Kennedy's request in 1961 that before the decade is out, landing man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth. That was a pretty remarkable accomplishment. Yeah. They did it in 8 years. Wow.
All right, 1973, former White House aide Alexander P. Butterfield publicly revealed the existence of President Richard Nixon's secret taping system during the Senate Watergate hearings, and we all remember everybody's mouth dropping open when that happened. Yeah, holy smokes, let's get those tapes.
And remarkably, as he was a deputy assistant, so he pretty much saw Nixon like every day.
Yeah.
But he was one of the few people of the administration that was never involved or in the scandal or charged with everything.
Yeah. I want the Clinton tapes.
I do too. It's so bad. Right?
I want the Clinton tapes.
You know, I wonder if there's video. You think there's actually video?
Boy, now there we go. That's that's a sellable video in the X-rated movie houses, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Billy Boy's a bit of a narcissist, don't you think?
Yeah. Knowing Clinton, he's probably smiling and waving at the camera.
Yeah, at the camera. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Definitely got that Arkansas smile. There's no question.
That's right. Yeah, there we are. 1979, Saddam Hussein became the president of Iraq.
Pretty consistent situation in the Middle East where, he was in the military, born in April 28, 1937, and in Tikrit, which is a province of,
where he was captured eventually.
Iraq, yeah, that's right. And, he was head of the Iraq Ba'ath Party, which he helped set up. And most people know most about him. I mean, the biggest problem was his Iraq-Iran war that lasted for 8 years. And then, which he badly lost and suffered massive casualties. By the time the 8th year came around, he was sending 15-year-olds into the front line with guns with no training. It was not a good thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, his invasion of Kuwait and so forth, and his ultimate overthrow because of weapons of mass destruction. No, historians say it happened because George Jr. got upset with him for threatening George Sr. So there you go.
That could be, yeah. 1980, on this date, Ronald Reagan won the Republican presidential nomination at the party's convention in Detroit and started probably the greatest, what do I want to say, era of prosperity the U.S. has ever known.
And as much as I respect Ronald Reagan, he really doesn't get the credit because the IT in revolution came along.
That's true. Yeah.
And the computer industry came along, and between 1982 and 1995, 45 million jobs were created in that industry alone.
There you go. I said it, or I couldn't even get through the first half hour. We'll be back with more right after the news at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned. 23 minutes before the top of the hour. It is Tuesday, July 16, 2019, 54 degrees outside. Tom Eagle up, your morning mayor in the house. Shane Talbot on the line from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. And welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. And we got a couple texts going on here, Shane, from our text line, 478-8298. Let's see. Careful what you wish for. Just remember, what has been seen cannot be unseen. I have no desire to look at Clinton acting like a normal human being, much less his illicit behavior. Yuck. and that's a signed text. Also from our text line, Melania should go back where she came from and fix that country. Well, obviously, you don't know anything about Slovakia or whatever, Slovenia, whatever the hell she comes from. Let's see, I looked it up just to see what kind of problems they were having. They've got a 1.38% inflation rate. They have 13% in poverty. That's about the same as the United States. Their labor force, 959,000 in their labor force. Unemployment is 4%. Average Average income, let's see, per capita income, $36,000, which is about the same as the U.S. So I don't know. Maybe she's already fixed it before she got here.
I think she may have.
She must have. Yeah, she must have brought the economy up pretty well. So yeah. So anyway, so that's where Melania is with her country. So. Oh, let's see. We got to move on here because we've got local stuff we got to cover as well, Shane. Let's see. The city wants to repair the Bogart Pavilion. We'll be talking to Jeff Krauss about that. City Commissioner said after rotting wood led to a partial roof collapse in one of Bozeman's largest public spaces, they need to restore trust by putting money into bringing it back up to code. So. The Bogart Pavilion closed in November when one of its beams gave way. An investigation found the break started with rotten wood. Staff didn't perform routine maintenance on the 1977 pavilion.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, so on Monday, the City Commission said Bogart needs a full repair that lets people know it's safe and will last decades to come. How and when that repair happens and where the money will come from is still uncertain. So we'll have to put that on Jeff's list. Where's the Bogart money going to come from? Commissioner Jeff Krauss called the partial collapse a city failure and one of the most embarrassing issues he's experienced in his 16 years in Bozeman government. We may have even put your safety at risk at times, and I want to apologize for that, Krauss said. So there you are.
Yes.
And I said it again. Well, no, I didn't say exactly the same thing, but
Tom, don't worry
similar
about it, please. Fine. You're the righteous eagle man. You can say it whatever you want. Give me a break.
Well, in other news, the Smith River.
This is a good one. Don't you like this?
This is pretty funny. The DEQ said, "Hey, give us your comments." So people did. They got 2,500, and they thought maybe that's a little low. So anyway, they checked the spam filter, and everything went to the spam filter, all the comments about the Smith River. So the mine's opponents worry the project could lead to acid mine drainage and potential harm to the creek and ultimately the river. So they're concerned about any mining close to any kind of a river or stream or anything like that. And I guess rightly so, but if the DEQ gives it the go ahead, why not? We can't, if I don't know why God didn't locate the gold and coal and everything else away from rivers, but I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah, what was he thinking?
I don't know what he was thinking. So anyway, they're in limbo about that. What are they going to do about it? So they'll find them, I guess, and read the comments, and then we'll see what they decide to do. So the problem had not happened before that. The commission review process was not delayed. The snafu just so happened to occur during one of the most high-profile and contentious permitting processes the DEQ has ever dealt with. So, yeah, why not make a really serious subject even worse?
I think the lawyers are enjoying this one.
I think the lawyers are going to have a field day here. So, all right. All right. When we come back, we got the high school makeover. we got to talk about that a little bit. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Tuesday, July 16, 2019, 55 degrees outside. And, in local news, Shane, unfortunately, Gallatin County search and rescue team member died Sunday. Falling rocks swept him and another man off the side of Mount Cowan. In Park County, Travis Swanson, 33, was retrieved by his fellow rescue team members, and he had been on the side of the mountain with two other men, and the other man survived. Hitchcock was his name, and he's in stable condition at St. Vincent's Hospital. Swanson was a contributed to the alpine and the helicopter rescue teams and loved spending time with friends, saving people's lives when good days went bad. Travis was always there to help his community. So we wish his family and friends and other rescue folks thank you for your service. And sad situation. We hate to lose anybody that does that kind of work, and very unfortunate. So we wish his family and friends the best.
That's right, because a lot of first responders like him were volunteers.
That's true. Yeah. Well, let's see. The Bozeman High makeover. They want to cut it by $2.5 million to fit in the budget. So I don't know what they're going to have to give up, but Bozeman's original high school will still gain a new 2-story classroom building and 16 classrooms, a long-sought 750-seat auditorium, and a new students' commons connected to the main entry on the west side facing the Ruth Thibault Way, where they're putting the roundabout in. So that's going to be the new main entrance to the high school. Yet the new west entry will be less prominent with the elimination of a large canopy and other design features. The new student commons will lose some dramatic elements, such as most of the wooden beams originally planned and half of the large walls of glass, which would have been similar to those at the new Gallatin High School, still under construction. So the school board trustees voted 6-0 Monday to approve the changes. Some expressed disappointment with the cosmetic cutbacks, but said the project must stay within budget. So good for them for keeping things in budget for us. So, you're going to see that in your tax bill. You're going to pay for a new you got to pay for a new high school. You're going to pay for a renovation of the old high school, and you're also going to pay for the safety center. So
I'm sure when people get their bill, the first thing they're going to think of is, it could have been more.
I'm sure that's what they'll say. Yeah, it could have been so much more.
Yeah, it could have been so much more.
well, hey, you voted for it, you got it.
You got it.
So if you didn't vote for it, then I guess you got you can complain. Well, Bozeman High graduate designed the Sweet Pea poster for this year, Festival of the Arts. That's going to be August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of this year. And so Maddie Tate Lapp, 20, created the winning design. Every year, festival organizers put out an open call for poster submissions. It's the second time Sweet Pea has featured her work. A few years ago, Lapp entered the contest for the festival's T-shirt contest and won. So she's worked with several mediums in the past: charcoal, digital, graphics, metal work. So she's pretty prolific, I guess, in the design world. So congratulations to her for that design. So pretty cool. Yeah. So we're excited for her. All right, moving over to Livingston, the new principal's salary is still being worked out. As you remember, we reported last week that the son of the director or the school district superintendent has yet to be worked out. The son was given the job of the principal, and some people were a little bent out of joint about that. But anyway. Jordan Vigat, I don't know, somebody from Livingston needs to call me and get the correct pronunciation of this guy's name. Jordan Vigat, Vieguts, I guess, or Vigat. Decision to accept the job is partially based on only a range of potential salary based on experience and district norms, according to Livingston School District Head of Human Resources. So we're still talking with our business director. I would expect something between $76,000 and $80,000 based on what I know, she said, the director of human resources. So I guess we'll find out what they vote for. And
that's right. No nepotism here, because it was properly announced and reviewed, and
of course
everyone talked about it.
Everybody talked about it. I mean, what could I don't know what could be worse than that. Well, the state officials killed a bear that roamed residential Bozeman. A black bear was that frequented residential neighborhoods in the Bozeman area has been killed by Montana wildlife officials. The representative said the 2-year-old male bear had gotten into multiple conflicts with people and livestock since late June in the Story Hills area of Bozeman. And in one instance, the bear was seen on July 5th chasing goats and chickens in a pen, and the homeowner shot at the animal, but it left. And it was captured Thursday after it followed a woman walking 2 dogs in a city park. Now, that would get you pretty excited, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. Walking your dogs. Oh, here comes Yogi.
Yeah, exactly. Here comes Yogi. And I'm not carrying a picnic basket.
Do not have a picnic basket. No, I don't. Well, it was captured Thursday, as I said, after it followed the woman in the park, and they euthanized it because it had become accustomed to getting food in populated areas, so that would not be good. So,
yeah.
And up in Hamilton, they are up there they're getting rid of timber. They're cutting timber, so to prevent fires of all things.
Wow.
Who'd have thought that would work?
That would work, yeah.
I wonder why we're not doing it down here.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting too because there was a fellow in the Forest Service in California he did like a 10-year research paper on 75 yards being the safest distance from your home to clear if you're in the wilderness to prevent your home from being burnt down.
Which is about 3/4 of a football field, if you want to put it in perspective there. So
that's a big yard to mow.
That's a pretty good size yard, yeah, if you want to do that. So, loggers have started thinning about 5 square miles of dense forest in the area of the Bitterroot River, and the Meadow Vapor Project, it's called, will split the work area, and the timber will be sold in 2 sales to area mills for various uses. I didn't realize we still had any mills left. Yeah, but apparently we must. So, and they're going to leave. They're leaving old growth ponderosa pine and Douglas fir behind. So they're just thinning the area there. That fires burned large areas of the region in 2000. So they thought they would do that. And would be a little better deal. So
yeah, and a great thing about the ponderosa pines is it's open canopy. It's not really thick enough to shade the forest floor, so that's why they leave it behind.
Right. Okay. All right, we got to take another quick break. We'll be right back following these important words. 2 minutes for the top of the hour, and we've got a caller waiting on the line. Shane's been waterboarding them, so let's go over and see what's going on. Caller, you are on the air. You're not on the air.
Nope, they weren't there.
Well, they're there now.
Are they?
Yeah, Shane wasn't hearing me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I need to stress that President Trump is not getting enough credit for what's happening right now. And I'm surprised at Shane and the National Organization of Women for not jumping on this. And this concerns the 4 congresswomen.
Yes.
He's being both sexist and racist.
Who is?
The president.
Oh, okay.
You're missing the humor in that, aren't you?
I am, yeah. but I got it now that you've explained it to me.
Okay. Talk to you later.
All right, thanks. Well, good. I'm glad I didn't miss that.
Well, I was hoping at some point someone would bring up the demolition squad, because, wow, what a job they did yesterday. Whoa!
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that coming up in the next segment. So we don't have enough time right now because we only got a minute and a half left before the news. But we do have an exonerated man that's seeking $97 million from Montana for imprisonment. A man who was exonerated for killing his best friend spent 20 years in prison, and he'd like big bucks for that injustice. And I'm not sure I can blame him. 20 years in prison, thank you very much. Wow. I think a couple bucks is warranted if you were exonerated and were innocent of the crime. So good for him. So let's hope he'll leave us in his will.
Yeah, that's it. Not likely.
Not likely. Probably not. All right. All right, that does it for this segment. Jeff Krauss will join us at 8 o'clock this morning. When we come back, we want to talk about the four ladies in Congress and also 5 things you need to know and all the other things that we've got going. So stay tuned. We've got a lot more to do, so we'll be right back right after this. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. Tuesday, July 15th, 2019, 58 degrees outside. Tom Eagle off your morning mayor. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing in Vancouver, British Columbia. And this is, of course, the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Thanks for joining us and taking us with you on your morning wherever you're going. We really appreciate that. 105 downloads of our shows in the last 2 weeks. 105 downloads of our shows in the last 2 weeks. Wow.
That's incredible.
That's amazing. Yeah, we're at 1,105 downloads since we started keeping the text or the rebroadcast going. So,
well, being righteous in the mayor makes it work, buddy. You're the man.
Apparently, it works. So, well, let's see. Let's clean up the text line here because again, people are chastising me. Tom, ladies, really? I can think of a lot more fitting names for the 4 in the squad, but ladies are certainly not on that list, and that's a signed text. I'm a supporter, but for the love of God, please stop the tweets and the stupid comments. Okay, I'm not sure if the tweets are the stupid comments or you and I are, Shane. So, not sure.
Oh, I think it's the tweets you're repeating.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Poor Yogi, we euthanize bears that follow a jogger and her dogs, but we will keep a subhuman that killed and murdered another person alive for the rest of their lives. Amazing world we live in. So, there we go. That's the that.
Now that's a true contrast.
That puts us up to that brings us up to date on that. All right, the 4 Democratic Congresswomen who were subject of President Trump's, it says racist tweets, but I'm not going to call them racist tweets. I'm just going to call them tweets over the weekend. Representative Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Cortez, and Rashida Tlaib held a press conference on Monday in response to the attacks. Trump said the congresswomen should go back and fix the totally broken and crime-infested places where they came from, and on Monday stood by his comments insisting they were not racist, saying the women hate our country and can leave. All 4 lawmakers criticized the president's word while emphasizing that they remain focused on their jobs and holding Trump accountable. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that the House will consider a resolution condemning Trump's tweets. So.
Wow. Yeah. Well, if you saw the news conference, you'd have been embarrassed. It was ugly. Very ugly.
Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, Tom and Shane, this is Aaron. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, I got to take a little umbrage with old Shane there.
Okay.
Yesterday we had a conversation, Shane, you and I, and we hung up, and then you went on to say that I need to do my research and whatnot. And, Shane, I wasn't talking about the shock of the expansion, crush, British Empire era of South Africa. When I stated that when white people got there, there was nobody there, I was talking about the 1600 shipwreck and Cape Town being created. There was nobody in that area. There was a vast grazing savanna where people would bring their cattle seasonally to graze. There was nobody in the original area where the South Africans, the white people, first settled. So that's what I was talking about. I wasn't talking about the 1900s issue with the Zulus and all that. So, all right?
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to clear that up with old Shane. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Let's see. A clarification of an earlier tweet. I'm a supporter, but for the love of God, please stop the tweets and the stupid comments. The tweets and comments by the president is what they're referring to, not the tweets. Yeah, okay. Not the things there. So, let's see. I remember when we didn't like what Obama was doing, and Trump tweeted we should leave, and weren't a lot of people supposed to leave when Trump was elected? Didn't
That's right.
I mean, weren't they supposed?
Half of Hollywood.
I was going to say nobody seemed to want to go to Mexico. Everybody went to Canada. Why? I don't know, man. The cold weather and everything. I don't know. That's pretty bad. But well, anyway, comments on the four ladies and. A lot of people think that Trump should have stayed out of this and just let these four destroy the party, which they were on their way to. And a lot of people think that his comments have now put it back on him and exonerated them somewhat. But I think what he was trying to do with his comments about them was he needs to identify them as the current face of the Democrat Party. And he needs to call more attention to them than to Pelosi or anyone else in the Democratic Party. He wants these four out front, and they're sucking all the oxygen out of the 24 people who are running for president. So these four are now the news cycle, not anything Biden's doing, not anything Beto O'Rourke is doing, not anything Elizabeth Warren is doing, or anybody else out there. So I think that might be part of his plan, is to really call attention to them, because he knows the news cycle is going to repeat the sound bites they made or they said, and which they did. And so, I would agree with the caller, or the texter rather. I think it might have been a smarter move to stay out of it, because they would have still probably got the same coverage. But that's just my opinion. So.
Well, there's so many things that would have been in the news cycle yesterday, but this was all that there was. So obviously that was his intention, because he always has an intention for what he does.
Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Number two, he knows how poorly spoken all these women are, and they are. I have to tell you, with what they said, even though the three of them had written comments and Cortez just spoke, off the cuff. The sad thing is that what he represented in his tweets, they fully reaffirmed in their news conference. Everything that he said in their tweets, they fully reaffirmed in their news conferences. I think that as members of Congress, what they said was shameful, and it just said it. Unfortunately, the Democrats are the ones that are dealing with this. Finally, politically, does it hurt them? No, because the cycle turns so quickly. And what it guarantees is they're going to make more comments. So it's not like this is going to end here, right?
No, I don't think it will either. Yeah. No, I don't think it will. Yeah. All right, let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Calling you on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Yeah, good morning. Just wanted to comment a little bit on Trump and these four congresswomen.
Sure.
I think regardless of what Trump tweeted, and I'm not a big fan of what he tweeted, but he gave them some legitimacy that they didn't have before he tweeted, and that's what I take issue with.
No, I think that was the purpose. He wants to give them legitimacy as the leaders of the Democrat Party.
I think there are too many people in Congress that see through that, and I think the American populace is too smart for that.
Well, we'll see. Either they are or they aren't. So, but anyway, as I said, he turned the focus away from the border onto them. He turned the focus away from the 24 candidates running on them. And, do I agree with what he said? Of course not. But, the end result is what he wants, I guess so.
Yeah, politics, baby.
He's thrown a lot of smoke bombs, but I think this one was misplaced.
Okay.
Have a nice day. Thanks.
All right. Hey,
thanks for the call.
You. Yeah, thanks for the call. All right, let's see. From our text line, 478-8298, Trump's tweets are meant to get mainstream Americans informed. To these four radical representatives also, why can't he slam them when he said the most vile things about the president? Complete double standard. and that's a signed text. 3/4 of the women Trump wants to go back to their country were born in America. What a dotard. Okay. Well, let's see. When you don't like policy, you have the opportunity to run for office. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading this because of the apostrophes and everything that are in it. I was putting code in instead of apostrophes. So, when you don't like policy, you have the opportunity to run for office. You don't, quote, freaking leave, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, run for office. Go for it. Yeah. All right, let's take
Get involved. Get involved.
Get involved, man. That's why we're here. Get involved. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you are on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. What's up?
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I could be worse.
Okay. Well, let's hope not, but go ahead.
We could have a Democratic president again, and we don't, so that's nice.
I guess that's a good thing. So.
Yeah, so I've come up with a bit of a conspiracy theory. I just thought this up.
All right. Good for you.
All right. I love this. This is good.
Even though we know most of these Democrats are morons anyhow, and so are these four of the squad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you suppose that there's a possibility that they're doing all this infighting and backbiting in the Democratic Party just so everybody will pay attention? Donald Trump will pay attention to the four, and Nancy Pelosi is going to come back on the backside with Chuck Schumer and cut Trump's Achilles tendon. What do you think of that?
Well, what, by budget, or I don't think you physically mean she's going to stoop down and knife him.
No.
But
you mean by policy or politically? Which one?
Politically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Nothing seems to politically hurt him. That's what we've experienced here. That what overrides this, and I've lived through 13 presidents. And I've never seen a president speak his mind without a focus group and, a speechwriter and getting an okay. I mean, he says what he thinks and, let the chips fall where they may. And that's kind of refreshing. We haven't had that with politicians before.
Oh, it's all right, and they don't like it because they don't know how to react to it.
Well, that's the whole point, I mean, they want a politician that they can attack politically. And, he says what the guy on the bar stool down at the Hideaway is thinking, So.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
And not only that, but everything your president says goes global. I mean, it doesn't go viral. It goes global.
Yeah.
So,
it really does.
Yeah, so he realizes that this texting has a double impact. It not only has a double impact on policy and politics, but it has a global impact. And, I give him kudos for having the willingness, as Tom says, to be vocal. All presidents since 1960 have had a filter through the press room. They'd send out their press secretary and they'd make statements, and then they'd wait and see what kind of responses and questions the press would give them. And this guy goes right at it. He goes right to it. So I give him kudos for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that because he acts more like a regular person than some of these other guys.
That's why he got elected. People saw him not as a rich guy, not as a billionaire, not as a a shyster or a crook or whatever. We all got our warts. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, he didn't get where he is by being stupid.
Well, no, I don't think. I don't think.
No means.
Yeah, I was going to say you have to either believe he's the dumbest guy on the planet or he's a certified genius. One of the two. There's no middle ground. I don't think.
Well, I think that's why he says this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Because he gets the other side talking and opening their mouth, and then they show their hand, and he knows what his next move is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in a parliamentary form of government, in the House, we have what's called the question period. So once a week, usually Wednesday, the Prime Minister has to show up on the floor of the Parliament and answer questions of the opposition directly. So I think he sort of looks at this and he goes, that's pretty good. I think that's a good idea that I should have to go out and answer the questions directly.
Yeah.
And I think it's working for him. I really do. I think he controls the news cycle, and
Well, he talks to the press all the time. You know, I mean, you see sound bites of him with a whole crowd of reporters. He's getting on a bus, or he's getting on the plane, or he's getting on the helicopter, or wherever he's going.
And then, what's so amazing is they give him a hard time about his tweeting when he does these open news conferences all the time. Like, it's so amazing.
I was gonna say, Obama was, I don't know where he was. You know, he would answer 4 questions in an hour-and-a-half press conference. You know. Hey, thanks for the call. I got to take a break.
Okay.
Appreciate your input. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Bye.
All right, take care. We'll be right back right after this. 22 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It is Tuesday, July 16, 2019, 60 degrees outside right now, and we're looking for a high in the mid-70s today, and a little rain here and there. It looks a little cloudy out there. Michelle Wolf over at the Moose doesn't have her blinds open all the way, so it's hard to tell if there's any sun out there or not, Shane. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know. She's eating something. I don't know what she's doing. eating something, eating her breakfast, and listening to rock and roll.
There you go. With a cup of coffee.
Hard rock and roll over there. Well, in other news, Pelosi says the House will not raise the debt ceiling unless such a move is combined with a budget agreement. Earlier in the day, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin told reporters that if a budget deal is not reached soon, Congress will have to raise the debt ceiling before its August recess. Otherwise, there won't be enough money to pay the government's bills. Lawmakers have until the end of September to hammer out a budget deal, and that's when funding for several agencies is scheduled to run out. The Treasury Department can only issue debt up to the limit set by Congress. Since President Trump's inauguration, total government debt has increased by about $3 trillion to more than $22 trillion.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, don't forget, Obama immediately shut the media and press out and then granted them audience, and it turned them into his lapdogs. Trump put a stop on all they ended up as annoying slipper dogs that he shut the door on. There you go.
And remember, in his second term, he shut down the White House. He didn't allow Americans to go to see their home.
Oh, my gosh. Ooh, that's serious.
That was serious.
Yeah. From our text line, Trump is empowering those women. The more he triggers them, the more radical things they will say. The more radical things they will say, the deeper the wedge will be driven between Democrats and the electorate. Trump's tweets are meant to get mainstream Americans informed. To these 4 radical representatives, also, why can't he slam them when he said the most vile things about the president? And I would agree with that. So There we go. All right. That brings our text line up to date, Shane. So let's go back to the 5 things we need to know. We got Jeff Krauss coming in shortly. He'll be here at 8 o'clock, so stay tuned for that. And the Trump administration is enforcing new abortion restrictions. They said on Monday, said taxpayer-funded family planning clinics can no longer refer women for abortions. The Health and Human Services Department also told clinics that they must maintain separate finances from facilities that provide abortions. Every year, about 4 million low-income women are able to receive family planning and preventive health services through the Title X program, Title 10 program, actually, which provides $260 million worth of grants to independent clinics. Under federal law, taxpayer funds cannot be used to pay for abortions. Many of these clinics are operated by Planned Parenthood, and President Leanne Nguyen said the organization is hoping to get the regulations overturned in federal court. Yeah, by all means, let's overturn those. Let's kill those kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. That's a big payday for us. So.
Yeah, yesterday the demolition squad, one of them compared children to dogs and accused your government of treating dogs better than children. But abortion is okay.
Yep, no problem there. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, just Unneeded kids, They don't have room for them. Can't take care of them, I don't know why they just don't let them starve at the border.
I got
What's
to
the
cover
problem?
my teas. Got to cover my teas from yesterday, Mayor. So
what's that? Go for it.
The second thing on 5 things to know about ICE begins its immigration raids across the U.S.
Yes.
And one of the interesting aspects of this, of course, is the involvement of sanctuary cities and their refusal to work with the ICE officials to gather up criminals, because these are now criminals.
Right.
They've been given court order, or they've been given court orders to leave the country, and they've ignored them. Mm-hmm. So yesterday I was having a conversation, during a commercial with a caller. I hope he calls back today, because I told him I'd bring this up. So we had an epiphany together, and we thought, how brilliant would this be if the Department of Justice sent U.S. state marshals along with the ICE officers? Now, the U.S. States Marshal Service, for those of you that don't know, was created in 1789 by an act of Congress and George Washington as president. And it's unto its own. It's a department under the Attorney General, and it's separate from Homeland Security. One of the few remaining, agencies that wasn't grabbed up under the Department of, Homeland Security when it was created. And as I said, it was formed in 1789, and there's 94 U.S. Marshals across the United States, 3,953 deputy U.S. Marshals, and criminal investigators. And so my epiphany would be, which we've had several, sending, people to the border to help build the fence. But anyway, having said that, so the U.S. Marshal Services could go along with open warrants, which they're allowed to carry, and any official, like a sheriff or a mayor or a councilman or someone that, interfering with ICE doing its job, they could arrest them. Boy, this could change the whole concept of interfering with federal agencies and federal officials doing their job, which Congress enacted. So
okay.
There's a solution, folks. I hope you make a call about it.
All right. That'll work for me. All right, that does it for this half hour. We still have a half hour to go. We still got more things to talk about, and we still got text lines that we need to talk about, and people are texting right and left, so we're having a fun time here. And, hey, don't forget our app chat on AM 1450 KMMS. Right next to the listen button on your smartphone, we've got app chat right there. Hit that, you get right directly to us. You don't have to worry about the text line number or any of that stuff. And you don't need to miss a second of the show. It'll be coming in as well. So hit that chat line and give us a shot. We'll be right back.
Word of the day, download.
23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, July 16, 2019, 63 degrees outside. We're looking for a high of in the 70s, mid-70s today. A little rain here and there during the day, but after today, it should be pretty nice. So, let's catch up on our text line. Let's see. Obama had no equivalent of Jim Acosta. The other reporters would not have allowed it. Okay, so I guess that'll work. Let's see. I agree with the president tweeted, and I'll stand behind him 100%. All right. And let's see. Why do Trump supporters not embrace his racism as much as he does? Anyone with half a brain has known since the 70s that Trump was a racist. Two examples would be housing discrimination and continuing to call for the execution of the Central Park Five even after DNA evidence has exonerated them. Trump complaining about other people saying vile things. What a joke. You can go on and on forever with this man is blatantly racist. Comment, I just wish the people who support him would embrace it as much as he does. Well, if you can send me, please, by all means, send me a soundbite of Trump using the N-word or calling someone a towel head or a wetback or slant-eyed or a limey, kike, a fruitcake, please send me the sound bites of those things, and I'll be happy to put them on the air. So 3/4 of, let's see, Trump speaks his mind. The problem is that his mind is is that of a stupid child. Hopefully, he is an anomaly, not a reflection of America. Well, I don't know. America certainly seemed to elect him against overwhelming odds that he would even make the nomination, let alone be president. I still can't believe he's president, but that's a whole nother story for, I don't know, watching that night, I don't know. Probably the best part of that election was that Chris was gone and I was here that morning. I would have loved to heard Chris that morning of Trump being elected. Oh, man. Taxpayer funds play Planned Parenthood for the drugs for girls who are transitioning to become a boy. And let's see, some people get rich by being crooks. Bernie Madoff, Ivan Boesky, Michael Milken, Martha Stewart, El Chapo, all of whom were convicted and sentenced, I might add. So, but of course, Trump has not. So, I don't think you get to where he is by, you got to do. The thing you got to remember, rich people, is nobody gets rich unless you help somebody that I know of. You don't get rich very long, or you don't get to stay rich very long unless you help someone. So that's where. Go.
And being a successful businessman, people don't do business with someone that's not successful. So
I was going to say, if Trump won the nomination, what does that say about the Republicans? Sad. Are they like him? Well, I can remember Wisconsin, Paul Ryan, Walker. Nobody would stand up with Trump and endorse him after the Access Hollywood deal. So, no, the Republicans doesn't say anything about them. They didn't like him either. But the American people put him into the nomination, not the Republicans or the Democrats. Well, Democrats probably did because they didn't show up. But,
Well, and remember that this demolition squad went after Biden. They went after Pelosi. They called both of them racist. Mm-hmm. And who stood up for both of them? The president did.
President said he said Pelosi's no racist.
That's right. And did they come out and say he wasn't? No.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, so no. But I mean, the bottom line is they are in fact, supporting what these women are saying, and some of the things these women have said in the last 3 months is really quite horrific. So,
well, it is, and it isn't a matter of color. It's a matter of being un-American.
That's right.
I think, anyway.
It was never about color, but the media wants to make it about color because that's the only thing they have left. That's all they got left.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if people have an appreciation for this country, but I certainly got an appreciation of it in 1965 and 66.
I'll bet you did.
When I was deprived of America for a while, and people are shooting at you, and to make it back here to the best place on earth, the last place on earth, especially Montana, you have a renewed appreciation for what this country is. I got to take a break. We got a caller waiting on the phone. Shane, if you can talk to them, we'll be right back. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, July 16, 2019. Caller on the line. Caller, you are on the air. Welcome to the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane.
This is the old guy.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I'm kind of want to mention a couple of things. First of all, I want to mention about the Black Butte mine. My wife's family's involved in that. And anyway, I wonder if all these environmentalists, when they drive these nice cars and they look at their laptop computers and they go to this fine college up here and people, the alumni, donate horrendous millions of dollars. My daughter's family, husband's family did. And I wonder if they ever think about the copper and the silver and the gold that goes into a laptop and goes into their light bulbs and their cars and everything that we use. Everything that's humanly possible, copper, silver, and gold goes into. Airplanes, 7 or 8 ounces of gold goes into a jet. That's a fighter jet. I want to say that. And the next thing I wanted to say, people bitch about the rich people. Those rich SOBs got it all. Well, them rich SOBs, as the people call it, are corporations, big, huge corporations like John Deere, Case, the 3 big car companies, or 4, how many ever is here. They're all corporations and all have stockholders. And when Shane and I were talking, I was talking to him about how many people do them rich SOBs employ. And them rich SOBs are the ones that keep Bozeman and all the cities going because of the workforce they have in these corporations. Now, people never think about these things. They always bitch because the guy has made some money, like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or any of them. They bitch about it. But how many people, Facebook, how many people do they employ? And I understand Facebook is trying to go automated. We can get rid of people. But I would just like maybe Shane and maybe you, Tom, could look that up and tell the people out here, about the corporations and the people they employ. And that's all I got to say this morning.
Okay.
And thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for the call.
You betcha.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Well, as I said, most people don't get rich unless they help someone. What do you think, Shane?
That's correct. And the other question that he had for me was what percentage of American people own stock? So the two answers I've come up with going through this quickly is that 32 million people work for major public corporations of the 156 million in your workforce. The other 125 million are in private sector jobs, private companies. 62% of the American public now holds stock either directly, direct ownership in the public companies, and or through ETFs or a pension fund or a 401k. The interesting thing about this factor is the capitalization of these companies. Just to give you a few examples, ExxonMobil, 337 million, Exxon, 417 million shares out, Apple, 5.5 billion. Let's see, and Microsoft is like I think over 9 billion. They bought a bunch of stock back. So the distribution of the public companies is held globally by people, investors, and banks. And the largest equity investment by individuals in the world is in the United States. The least is in China.
There you are. Thanks for the update.
You got it, sir.
All right. We got to take another quick break. Jeff Krauss is in the house. We'll be chatting with him shortly, so stay tuned. 5 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, July 16th, 2019, 63 degrees outside. Looking for a high in the 70s today. And Shaman Tobin on the line with me. Half man, half amazing in Vancouver. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. Unelected, of course, but the real elected mayor 3 times is here. Jeff
Real,
Krauss.
yeah.
The real mayor.
Not imaginary.
The guy who sits on the podium with a gavel.
Yeah, not anymore. Now I'm just...
You're just a pawn.
Yeah, well, I'm just a loyal opposition, I guess.
There you are. Yeah. I need a gavel. You need to get me a gavel so I can
all right.
bang it on the collars or something, or
there you go.
Guess or whatever. Or Shane. Hey. There you go.
You got to turn me on. But
I got to turn you on. I keep forgetting to do that. I'm sorry.
And they hung up on me.
Oh, no. I couldn't have done that.
Okay, you're still good. I'm still good. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, whoops. I just cut you off then. Are we still there or not?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. All right. Well, Jeff, when we come back, we've only got a couple minutes here. Well, we got about 4 minutes, I guess. We were talking earlier about the pavilion that you've decided, I guess you want to fix it, but you're not sure how to pay for it or how much it's going to cost or what's going to happen with it.
You know, what I said was come back with the budget cuts that we needed to make to the city budget, which, we haven't finished yet. We passed it, but, we haven't levied for it. So come back with the budget cuts and tell us how we're going to pay for it. It'll be a lot to cut, but probably over 2 fiscal years, so it wouldn't be horrible.
Do you have do you have to pass the budget to find out what's in it?
Absolutely. One of the interesting things I think is we did have a consultant there. We paid some money for a consultant to tell us that yes, the ends of the beams are rotted. It wasn't global warming. It wasn't unusually heavy snow. It was that we didn't ever
paint it.
Yeah. You know, right? Like
or do anything with it.
And imagine you're surprised if your fence or your deck that you never painted or did anything to rotted and fell down since 1977, rotted and fell down, right? So all those years you never did anything to the wood that was left outside. Imagine our shock when it rotted, okay?
Wow.
And, we heard global warming. We heard, well, we don't have a spreadsheet or a program to tell us when we should go check. I guess one of the interesting things would be, if the same people are in charge of the Story Mansion, it's going to be gone pretty soon, too, right?
Yeah. Well, you did put new windows in it for $800,000.
And a roof.
That, too.
And a roof, yeah. No, I think this idea that somehow we should wait for the insurer to figure out some way to give us some money for it. Look, I last night I just apologized to the people of Bozeman, which we should have done right away. Somehow we overlooked maintenance and we let the Bogart Pavilion rot.
Yeah.
Nobody in 1977 said, "Oh man, what a nice building. Let's let it rot." And yet that's what happened. I have some incredible pictures of it's as rotted as a log of 40-something-year-old log in a wet forest.
Yeah.
Right? Just crumbling. And, so there were a number of alternatives we could have chosen from, but really, I think my point was, I think people expected that we had maintained it. I think that people had expected that we had taken care of it the way we would take care of some other asset, our own assets, that we'd have paid attention. And by we, I particularly mean, of course, the Parks and Rec Department, who is in charge of the parks, Bogart Park. Some people can say, well, maybe you should build that out at one of the, like the park off of, is it Oak Park or the park? No, it's
Municipal
not
Park?
No, I was thinking the park out at, no, not the 89-acre park. The park at, I'll think of it in a minute. It's just a giant thing of grass out there along Ferguson, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about, and I think that would be a good spot for it. But the truth is, we need to do right by the citizens, cut our budget, rebuild this, and put it back the way they expected us to have taken care of it all these years.
All right. We got to take a break. News at the top of the hour, Fox News, Montana State News, and Brooke Foster Weather. And we'll be back with Jeff Krauss to talk about city stuff right after this. All right. Thank you, Dan. Welcome back, everyone. It is 6 minutes after the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, July 16, 2019, 64 degrees outside. Shaman Taubman, he's half man, half amazing. And he's in Vancouver, British Columbia. Tommy, go off your unelected city
mayor.
By demand morning mayor. And, of course, the real morning mayor, Jeff Krauss, joins us every Tuesday, and happy to have his expertise in here and keep us up to speed on what's going on around the city, and we're glad to have you.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm going to make sure we all have a list.
Yeah.
I guess Shane's in Vancouver, but not forever, right? If he's coming to the parade this week or next week.
Yeah, he's going to be down here on the 26th with me at the Grand Tree live and in person at 6 p.m., so everybody will turn out for that. So, yeah, we'll be out there live and in person, and I think we're going to the warming hut the following day for their barbecue.
Really?
Yeah, they got a warming hut barbecue going on there, a fundraiser, I guess. We're going to be out there for that.
For the shelter, for the homeless shelter.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we're not going to be on the air, but we'll be out there. So if anybody wants to come
I want to sign me some T-shirts. I'm hoping people will want my autograph.
Well,
you may have to pay them. You never know.
I was going to say, a nickel's about all we can afford. So. Yeah, after food and everything else, I don't know.
Well,
We'll see.
The Bogart Pavilion was a hot topic last night. I think was the story of last night on the commission meeting. Also, some plans were revealed. In fact, a couple commissioners supported the project, although we weren't hearing a project about what they're going to do with the old trailer park, Bridger Trailer Park, Bridger Mobile Home Park. They're going to turn it into middle-class housing.
Really?
Yeah, no apartments. That just wouldn't fit the scale of the development.
Well, of course not, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't have apartments.
Can't have apartments.
Gosh.
They would be too close to headlands or the golf course. Can't have apartments out that way.
Is the city commission, are they ready to consider rentals as low-cost housing?
That is a big part of the solution, right?
Well, I would think so. I mean, you could put up a fourplex a heck of a lot cheaper than.
Well, it's funny you should mention it. There's a proposal in Missoula to put up senior living, 3-story apartment building senior living, and limit. It's limited to only seniors making $29,500 or less. And the neighborhood came unglued. How dare you put anything like that in our neighborhood? Yeah. So, it's the same old thing. We don't want any rentals in our neighborhood, by golly.
Yeah, well, you'll get all the riffraff, the older people,
Those older people over 55 that only make $29,500.
They're Woodstock people.
They're going to tear it up.
You can't have those people in there.
One person said, well, it used to be the responsibility of the children to take care of the adults, right? Yeah. And if they don't have any kids, just turn them out into the street, So it's a very interesting article on the Missoula Current today about, how angry the neighborhood is about senior living in their neighborhood. But it was unusual to hear, sort of this proposal that, well, we're just not going to have any apartments over next to the brand new park. Mm-hmm. Right. First, we run out some of the. I guess they weren't the poorest people in town, but they were low income.
Lower middle class.
It was scraped, right? The old mobile home park was scraped, and that took living away. And then the promise always was, well, we're going to put housing that appeals to those kind of. We're going to replace that housing, right? That was always the thing from the Trust for Public Lands and now they're going to put in this. They changed it to residential emphasis mixed use. They asked us to change it, and then they said, well, but we're not going to have any mixed uses. It's just going to be all residential, and it's just going to be. And they zoned it R3, 4-1, of course, and R3. You can build single family homes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to approve that. I mean, the council is just as responsible for allowing it to happen by approving it, aren't they?
3 of the commissioners have already met with the applicant. And, of course, they were the most...
Is that still in city limits out there?
Of course it is. Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be hearing it otherwise.
I guess obviously it must be, but I haven't been out that way in a long time, but that seems like it's pretty far out.
And there, and so we did a growth policy. It's almost spot zoning. We did a growth policy just for this one little piece. It said it's residential emphasis, mixed use, and I said, well, mixed use, words have meaning, phrases have meaning. In the mixed use, it says you can have residences over commercial.
Yeah.
Right? You have to build residential over commercial, but they don't want any commercial. There's not going to be any commercial.
I'm not sure there'd be any. Other than skiers, if you want to put a ski shop out there,
I understand that. So why did we create it as residential emphasis mixed use? Yeah. Well, the answer is it allows
we'll grow eventually out there.
No, we won't grow eventually out there because we're landlocked by Bridgers zoning, and we're up against the Bridgers, and you're up against the Story Hills. No, we're
no place to go.
We're not going.
Yeah,
that's the end there, and of course we put a multi-million-dollar park there out by Headlands, which is multi-million-dollar homes, and the homes around the golf course now also have a very nice park. and it's opening, I think, on the 20th. So while we let Bogart Pavilion rot, we built a very nice park that we're about to open. Anyway, so they're not. It's not going to be mixed use, but that's what they ask us to have, and I don't understand that. Three of the commissioners had met with them. One commissioner endorsed the project, which we weren't considering a project. We were just considering a change in zoning, and I guess the project has been written up in a national magazine as well. All the time. We're considering a land use policy change. Amazing. It was truly amazing.
All right. Let's take a quick phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on the Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane and Jeff Krauss.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's Steve.
Hey.
Tom, you had me sitting on hold for like 15 minutes and hung up on me.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Well, we got to get Jeff going here.
So it wasn't.
I had something to get him really rolling.
Well, let's go. Go for it. I apologize.
I really appreciate you, Jeff, explaining that it was rot. My issue is I was watching the news last night. KBVK, our trusted local news, and they were discussing the Bogart Park Pavilion. And they unequivocally claimed it was a snow load this winter that broke the upright. However, they showed extreme close-ups of the damage done, and any idiot could just look at that and see the rot. I immediately explained to my woman, "You see this? They're telling us snow load, but look at that rot." I'm in the trades. It's pretty easy to spot stuff like that, even to the untrained eye. So what I'm getting at is that while you, the single lone voice out there telling us the truth, the source that us commoners are supposed to use to get the truth, we're being lied to, blatantly lied to. And I'm really frustrated, and I'm just curious, what would you recommend my pathway to holding KBVK to account? All I want is the truth. If the city did a very poor job of maintenance, tell me that. Yeah. Don't tell me it was a snow load.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and it wasn't the snow load. We have to replace several of we're going to try to replace them all, but even the most half-baked repair would have done the one, and then there were the sides of several others that had to be replaced, and then what kind of annual maintenance do you recommend? Well, we put $5,600 in there, and that would be to hire a professional painter to come do, a two-stage epoxy, on it or something, right? I mean, but these were commercial grade, or not even commercial grade, but standard grade glue lam beams, not specially treated glue lam beams or anything. And so, of course, over the 40-some years, they rotted at the ends that were exposed to weather because they didn't get painted. They didn't have marine spar varnish on them. They didn't treat them like you would treat your fence or your deck. No one. And then they said, well, but we didn't have a program for checking on this.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, why we've done we're always over there doing work. Who wouldn't have looked at the beer can stuck inside the rotted piece of the glue lam beam and say, boy, that doesn't look right.
Did any of the other four commissioners, did they admit it was rot, or?
I think I'm the only one that talked about rot. Although I got to say that back, the sound is playing with me today.
I know. Yeah, well, I think he hung up.
But I understand the message that's been put out there is that an extraordinary slow load caused by global warming caused the roof to collapse. Remember, the roof wasn't the collapsing thing; it was the rotted end that fell off the foundation, right? That just rotted and bam, off it came. And
well, I just want to tell you guys, while we were waiting during the commercial, and he didn't have a chance to express it, he wants to know who is held accountable, and shouldn't somebody have lost their job to allow this to rot?
And I made the point last night. So the answer is yes, I believe someone should be held
you
accountable.
have a work yard. Yeah, you have a work yard, and that work yard consists of a crew that does things like hangs pots and waters them every day, right?
Yeah. Well, there's all that. So that's downtown, and they do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't think. Here's
You don't have a yard.
Well, we
have a yard.
Well, we
Yeah,
do,
we do.
but it's not the hang in the pots, and the stuff downtown is done by the Downtown Business Association.
I use that as a blatant
Okay,
overall
right.
example.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they mow the grass,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah,
mow
they
the
mow the
grass and
grass,
paint
yeah.
the signs, and they paint the signs.
Yeah.
They don't paint the ends of the Bogart Pavilion,
Yeah.
or even go by and like stick a knife in the wood and watch it flake off.
What about
and go, Ooh, that's
what about
rotten."
the other thing that's out there? You got that bandstand or whatever it is out there.
It's
Is
been
it-
rebuilt, so dig it.
Somebody
Now,
checked on that, apparently.
In the time that we allowed the Bogart Pavilion to rot, let me just say it again, that we allowed the Bogart Pavilion to rot. We redid the bandstand. We did the tennis courts famously.
Yeah.
We built, I think we redid the restrooms. We argued a lot about who has to put up the hockey boards and who gets to take them down, and whether it's too noisy for the neighbors, and
Yeah.
whether it's even a hockey pavilion, even though it's built to
Yeah.
regulation.
I'm surprised you have a
hockey size.
bandstand out there that the people don't complain about. I guess you don't have bands out there on a regular basis.
No, they just have the Papa, the Bozeman band, the
Oh, okay.
municipal band, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
So which is cool. We have a municipal band. Doesn't really cost the people of Bozeman any money, but it's
that's
nice.
good,
But
yeah.
yes, so on Saturday there's this big celebration about the new park out there by the expensive property,
Right.
on the way to Bridger Bowl. And there's going to be this huge park, and they have spent millions and millions doing this. And
The city has?
the city, the people of the city have done this, and so they're all going to go out there and pat themselves on the back on Saturday. What a wonderful job! What a wonderful park! What a beautiful thing for children!
No
the whole
pavilion,
thing.
I hope, I guess.
Well, but what I would say is, if we're going to pat ourselves on the back for spending the taxpayers' money on a beautiful new park, shouldn't we hold someone accountable for letting the iconic building? And I just want to quote the staff. The Bogart Pavilion is our only large multi-use facility. It's the only one we've got. Only large multi-use facility owned by the city, the citizens
What about the
of
fairgrounds?
Bozeman. Well,
that's county.
That's the county.
Okay.
And so there you have it, right?
Okay. We got to take a break. Way over time. We'll be right back. Let's try turning myself up. 24 minutes after the only 8 months, and I got to be retrained, Shane.
No, not you.
All right, Jeff Krauss is in the house, and we're talking about city stuff. We've been talking about the collapse of the pavilion, of course, due to global warming or climate change, I guess, and also some affordable senior housing or housing in general, I guess, at the Bridger Trailer Park, or the old Bridger Trailer Park place.
So the old Bridger Trailer Park, we're not going to replace that kind of housing for that income group.
Yeah.
So not only are we not doing like some kind of community-owned mobile home park or something that would have fit that income strata.
There's somebody that wants to develop this?
Well, it's still owned by Trust for Public Lands, and they're working with HRDC. And what Trust for Public Lands apparently wants to do, I mean, it's
They want to do the tiny houses out there?
No, not. Of course not.
No money in tiny houses, is there?
No, there isn't. You still have to do all the improvements, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You got to have streets and curbs and gutters and sidewalks and all the stuff, lighting and heat.
And when I tried to get apartments, and when I tried to get the mobile home RMH as the zoning restored there, and say let's have a mobile home park, maybe HRDC can manage it for the people that live there.
Yeah.
They said, oh no, we need dense, affordable housing there. And then
mobile homes aren't affordable.
Dense and something that can be used by public transport. They had all these reasons for why they didn't want to do that. Well, I think what we're going to see is expensive homes that are subsidized, so that they're a little bit less expensive, but they will not be within the reach of people who are typically in that mobile home income group.
Yeah.
And that we absolutely will not have apartments there, which would be in the mobile home income group.
All right. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's going on?
About the park, I was just kind of curious. When I grew up in Northern Virginia, in suburbia back in the 80s, and we had a subdivision called Sterling Park, Virginia. And it was a set-up subdivision, planned for growth and everything. And we wanted to put in a park. And, instead of raising taxes on everybody, we raised it as a community through donations and kids selling, hoagies and cookies and all kinds of crap. And everybody worked together as a community because it was a community park for the kids. And we had a big sign, and it had, the thermometer on it where it showed the money going up to what the goal was. And we got there. And when we got all the money together, all the parents and kids went down and did all the frickin' labor ourselves. And I'm not a community organizer or anything like that, but I do participate in things that are logical and make sense when other people get stuff going on and I have the time when I'm not busy running my business. But if we did something where every time, we go to the farmer's market and there was a thing where you could donate $5 or $10, and over a couple of years we could save up the money and we could do it ourselves and not have to raise taxes and not have to screw with the budget. Just an idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
There is that kind of activism in some of the parks.
Did the consultants give you some idea of what this repair would cost?
Yeah, they did. So the sort of the cut off the ends and put new sides of them.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to take off the sheathing in the roof, and that's a couple of $100,000. And then the full repair is probably $600,000 or $700,000.
Wow.
And if you recall, I said you need to cut the budget.
Sounds like it'd be cheaper to build a new one than it would be to repair the old one.
It would not be cheaper to build a new one. Although that is a discussion, right? Build a new one in Oak Springs Park. I talked about that last night and just briefly.
Don't we have ads on here for the steel buildings that are like $60,000? All you got to do is take the sides off of it and you're done.
And then you're done. Yeah, it sounds that way, doesn't it? Yeah, just put some metal sheeting on top and you've got it covered.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would go back to this thing where, somebody, I don't think there was any expectation ever that this thing would rot away and that we would allow it to rot away in 40-some years.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, it blows my mind. And I appreciate the one caller who called in and said, how do we get the truth out that it was allowed to rot? Mm-hmm. And that's what we do here, I think, on this radio station. And that's what I try to do is
I was going to say,
tell you exactly what happened.
Refer them to our replay on our website at KMMS.
And I sent you a couple pictures to put on there because I think
we'll put a blog up about it, and I can share that blog with KBZK.
I don't think people understand just how rotten it was.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got another half hour to go.
Okay.
Jeff's going to hang around with us. Shane's going to hang around with us. Tom's going to hang around with us. So we got a show, at least for another half hour. We'll be right back. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, July 16, 2019, 67 degrees outside. Jeff Krauss is in the house. Shane Matobin on the line, and Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor. And, when they closed the road to the hospital, they did some creative rerouting, didn't they?
Well, actually, I think they had a pilot car or something, because they did not want to send traffic through the Lindley neighborhood. God forbid, in the old part of town that we would ever send any traffic through a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. However, on the western side of town right now, right this minute, they're working on the Cottonwood and Durston intersection, and they're routing the traffic through the neighborhood. They got signs out. They've taken parking away from everybody's houses and in front of everybody's house, and they're routing traffic through the neighborhood. Those people who live on Equestrian Drive and down there in that part of town, I think, remember rather unfondly the routing through their neighborhood when they were working on that Baxter intersection. Everybody had to drive through their neighborhood. trucks and everything, and just crazy amount of traffic going to the middle school. And yet, when we were doing the hospital, it was just the people trying to get to the hospital, to the wound clinic, or to their chemotherapy or whatever. We couldn't be bothered. God forbid that we route people through
Lindley Park,
the Lindley neighborhood, even though there's a park there and a public reason for every member of the public in the whole city to drive there.
Right.
Oh, heavens, no, we couldn't possibly do that. And that's just the double standard. The double standard that exists between the old part of town and
set
the
them
new.
down Ellis and now Harrington or whatever.
And what's interesting, of course, is it took someone calling here, Kevin, who said, I drive around town every day, and said, well, look, you can still drive there, go right up and go around. You don't have to wait for the pilot car, which I think was probably helpful to people going to the hospital. And so I wanted to thank him for that. But also to point out the hypocrisy that we weren't going to let anybody drive through there. But we got everybody routed through Equestrian and through
Ellis
and whatever those streets are there around Cottonwood. We don't mind doing that, right? It's just it's like a forgotten stepchild out there west of 19th, and that's the way it is.
There you are. Let's take another phone call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's up?
Hey, I just thought of a better use for that ground instead of putting up middle-income housing. In keeping with the progressive tradition and progressive cities, that should be designated the tent city grounds.
There you are.
We could, there was this rumor, of course, always that there was going to be Syrian refugees in Belgrade, right?
Oh, yeah. We had all the trailers over there ready for them. Yeah.
So that, but what I would tell you is that, and all joking aside, is that I expected that trailer park to be replaced with very low income housing, because that's what was in there. And I thought that was kind of the promise, that it wasn't going to be a commercial subdivision, that it was going to be, in fact, this, something that a person that would have to live in a mobile home or an older mobile home could live in a small apartment instead and take the bus. And that was the argument made to me numerous times over the years. And, of course, that's a complete this is a complete 180.
Yeah. From our app chat line, please ask Jeff why so many, let me get that phone off. Please ask Jeff why so many left turn arrows are not enabled at Bozeman intersections. We've talked about this before, Jeff. They immediately flash yellow. Many times only one vehicle gets through per light change. The intersection at Fowler and Huffine can be exceptionally bad. Thanks. That's from Todd. And I think mostly because it's state highway, isn't it?
Yeah, that's only if you trigger it. So generally speaking, if you don't get there soon enough, it just flashes yellow.
Well, Fowler never.
Oh, that's right. Fowler does not have a dedicated left turn signal.
No, it does not.
If you're turning
flashes yellow no
west on Huffine, there is no left turn only there at all.
Yeah, and, you just have to wait. And
I think everyone has at one time or another mentioned that to Montana Department of Transportation. Yeah.
The only saving grace of that intersection, I use that one quite a bit because I live out Huffine, and the only saving grace on that, it is a long light.
Yeah.
You can get through there, but it would be nice if they made it like the other side. You can make a left turn arrow into Rosauers or go in the other direction.
Well, if you're turning east, if you're headed south and turning east.
Yeah.
And I would also say that left turn stacks. Stacking is when you fill up it stacks into the through lane every day.
Oh yeah.
Every day it stacks into the through lane. So you would think that they'd be taking a look at that, MDT be taking a look at that and saying we need a left turn lane because of the stacking problem.
Oh, yeah.
If nothing else.
No, it goes clear back to Rosauers sometimes.
And, you have to go down the side of the road, and then you can swing into the through lane. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's take another call. 522 Talk is the number. Caller, you're on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's up?
Good morning. This is Charity.
Hey.
Yeah, I live only a mile from there, so I have to go.
Yeah, you go through that
deal
section
with the lights
too.
all the time, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jeff, I was curious to know, there's a couple questions I had. Number one, where is the Tuesday Farmers Market being held? Obviously, it can't be held in the pavilion if the pavilion's still crumbling.
Lindley.
At Lindley, okay.
Yep.
And then, I wouldn't even have known where to find it. And then, number two, who owns the property? Is it the city that still owns the property that's adjacent to the new park that used to be Bridger Trailer Court?
Trust for Public Land.
And what is that just that's a private entity, not a city entity?
Yeah, it's a private entity. It's a nonprofit. Okay. They're national.
Okay. And they bought it. Did they buy it from the city or did they buy it from the bank? I don't remember how that worked.
Bought it from the bank.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Now the trailers had already been taken out. That had been the previous owner.
Well, I know because my parents had to sell.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and then the other thing was the idea of moving the pavilion to Oak Springs Park, which I believe is the one that is on Annie and Oak.
Yeah.
Sorry, Annie and Ferguson.
Ferguson, that's right, yeah.
I don't like that idea, number one, because traffic is already so bad in that area. Which I know
that four-way stop's a nightmare there. Yeah.
Yes.
That's going to be a roundabout. I know
it's going to be a roundabout, but I was thinking about the traffic. My sister lives in that neighborhood across from the playground, and
if you're going to park along there, that'd be a nightmare too.
That's what I was thinking too. Is that would just be.
I mean, that bike lane will disappear certainly. So.
A horrible area. Got to think of something else.
Well, it's a huge park, and it's just a giant piece of grass. And,
I know, but I saw soccer, like little kids' soccer teams playing out there the other day, and I was like, yay, that's a great use for that.
There you are.
Yeah. Practice. Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
I think that Bogart Park, right, in addition to having our only large multi-use facility in the city, also has this only swimming pool, that's a municipal swimming pool outside. And it has the band shell, and it has the farmer's market, and so it gets pounded.
It does, yeah.
It gets pounded, and so there is an argument to find a park that isn't used as much. It seems to me there's a lot of parking along that park too, but that isn't going to happen. We're not moving the pavilion. We're going to rebuild the pavilion.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, 11 minutes for the top of the hour. We're not going to have much of a segment here. About 2 minutes before we got to go to the Rush update, but we got a caller patiently waiting on the phone that Shane has been interrogating, and we'll see. We'll see what the caller has to say. Caller, you're on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. Jeff, a quick one, please. What's going on with the lawsuit with the city? Is that still going on about the grocery chain coming in here?
Yep. As near as I can tell, we haven't heard a word about any kind of legal change.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Yep.
We'll keep you informed. Got to end sometime.
It seems to be dragging along for a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
And for some of us that are interested in that coming into town for more choices, it seems like it's more of some kind of a method to keep them out rather than do anything constructive.
Well, at least an effort to keep them out of or prolong it till they're out of construction season.
Yeah, exactly right. Which to me seems to be quite unfair, but hey, I guess that's life around here.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say is we need to defend our decision-making process with regard to approval of something like Winco, or even disapproval of Winco had we done that. But that process that we went through, for the most part, seems to have been completely on the up and up. In fact, it's in the zoning that's required. It's it was an administratively approved. Don't forget, it was administratively approved. So the planning director, community development director, his staff approved it going there. Then it was appealed by this group, and then we heard their appeal and said, no, we think it's appropriate for where it is. And then they sued us. Because the next appeal after us, it really is district court. So the question is whether or not we acted appropriately all along. And I don't see much give in that from the city side. So, that's what I would say.
Could they call a city attorney and get an update, do you think, of dates or times?
He's not going to tell you anything I don't tell you.
Well, I was just thinking, is there any court dates planned or anything on the schedule that this is going to be heard somewhere?
Probably.
At least if we had a date, we would have something.
You would know no more.
Well,
right?
No. I mean,
right, because they just come in and say, well, we want to postpone the day. We don't have everything.
I guess that's true.
We just have to be patient and let the process take. I mean, that's what I think about when I get sued as a city commissioner is, all right, the law, it's up to the lawyers.
All right. We got to take another break. Unfortunately, got to get the Rush update in. Hey, thanks a lot for the call. Really appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Shane, we got a caller waiting on the line. We got to take the Rush update, so we'll be right back. All right, it is, we got about 2 minutes left. We got a caller waiting on the phone. Caller, you are on the air. What's your name? What's going on?
Hey, this is Sandy. I just want to tell Jeff he doesn't know. He needs to let the commissioners know. We want that store because I know at least 20 families that are going to Helena once a month to save $200. So we're taking money out of the county. So
all right.
Get their butt out of their butt,
There you go. I like to see them come too. They're over in my neighborhood. So,
yep.
Thanks for the call.
Yep.
All right. Well, Jeff, scooters coming to Bozeman?
Scooters are coming to Bozeman. I think we'll see how that works. I guess I'm willing to give them a trial run.
Are these the ones you park and you rent them or put a quarter in the thing and ride them wherever you want to go?
Right.
Put them in another thing somewhere else?
But I think they'd be a nightmare downtown with all the people sitting there. And so I'm not sure, but, I got open mind.
Well, you're going to have bike lanes.
I just remind people that Winco, the city is getting sued by a group of people who want to stop the Winco. So it's been approved administratively. That was appealed. We ruled against the appeal and said that it's appropriate where it's at, and then we were sued. So, I'm not being flippant. It's just that that's the situation until.
Like I say, they didn't seem to mind when Rose Hours came in. They didn't seem to mind when Town and Country expanded. They didn't seem to mind when Heebs expanded. I don't know what's the big deal with Winco. Is it just they that much cheaper that they're just going to take a massive amount of customers away from Albertsons and Safeway?
Well,
I think of the two that are doing it, I think.
I can't guess at other people's opinions, but our motives. But the simple answer is we've been sued, and we're going to defend the process and the conclusion.
All right. Say goodbye, Shane.
Goodbye, man. Thanks, Jeff. Be happy, be safe, everyone, and we'll talk tomorrow morning.
All right. Thanks. All right, thanks, Jeff, for being here. Appreciate it. And we're going to duck out of here, and we'll see everybody bright and early, 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.